You know when you're a kid and your parents tell you, hey, don't play in the street. You're going to get run over. Well, apparently Republicans need to tell Democrats and those in big blue cities, don't play on the freeway because you might get run over. What are we talking about? We're talking about the mostly peaceful protesters who typically devolve into utter chaos and violence, and oftentimes go onto the freeway to take their cause of justice and whatever other nonsense they're pitching at the moment. The freeway. The freeway. Republicans push federal ban on blocking interstates after LA riots cause highway chaos. It's happened here in Seattle too. I guess we now have to make a law for the absolute obvious. Don't play in the freeway, kids. You might get run over. Let's get into it. Here we go. I mean, just the notion that I'm recording this tells you how far batshit crazy this has gotten. I mean, blue states and cities have shown that they would rather have lawlessness and dysfunction over law and order. It's true. It's true. Don't worry about it, guys. Go out on the freeway. Go out on the freeway. We're going to watch some video. I mean, they end up on the freeway and you're like, oh, how about those people that are like right behind the cops in their cars and the protesters are on the other side? Those people must be furious. They're just trying to get to work. And you got some group of jackasses, free Palestine, Black Lives Matter, F Trump, F ICE. And you're like, I'm just trying to go to work. And now I got to sit here and I'm stuck behind you and I can't back off because we're on the freeway. Congressional Republicans are advancing a bill that would make it a federal crime to block interstate highways after mass demonstrations in LA caused major backups on key roadways. How did we get here? How are these people so stupid that you got to, don't go on the freeway. It's going to screw things up. I mean, they do this on purpose, right? They do this on purpose. Republican Representative 𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗠 of Georgia reintroduced the bill, the Safe Passage on Interstates Act. I mean, I totally agree. I think you should. You know what? You block a freeway, 10 years. Boom. No parole, no questions asked, 10 years in. Just so you have some pushback on this. Otherwise, you're just going to keep having these people do these ridiculous stunts that bring the cities to their knees. And on a federal level, this should already be a massive, massive issue. In February, after it stalled in the Senate last year, the legislation would create a federal law against the intentional obstruction of interstate highways. I'd be totally okay with that. Back in the day, a bunch of cops would just go out there and clear that out, right? Just clear it out. Even in Seattle, even in Denver, even in LA, they wouldn't, just go wherever you want. Just go wherever you want. It'll be great. It'll be great. There is nothing peaceful about the riots and looting we've seen in LA. Blue states and cities have shown they would rather have lawlessness and dysfunction over law and order. And we need to get these people off our streets and in jail where they belong. Collins told the Daily Wire in a statement. The safe passage on yada yada would give Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel the tools to put an end to highway protests and lock these criminals up. Well, of course this won't pass because you're going to have a bunch of lefties going, what about their right to protest? And you're like, on the freeway? Are you kidding me? You know what? Maybe we just, hey, you know what? If you guys want to protest on the freeway, that's fine. But there will be absolutely zero lawsuits, zero accountability for anybody running you over. So if you want to play a live game of Frogger, remember that video game where you tried to hop on the log and get across the river? If you want to do that across the freeway, go for it. Otherwise, we don't really have your back here because this is a stupid idea and it's illegal. The push to give more tools to federal authorities comes after demonstrators have repeatedly flooded the 101 in LA, stopping traffic and causing backups. Protesters again took over the freeway on Tuesday morning until LA police pushed the mob off the freeway onto a parallel road. Similar demonstrations could break out in major cities across the U.S., Seattle to Jacksonville, Florida. All Americans have the right to peaceful protest, but when cars are lit on fire and ambulances are blocked on major roadways, it is no longer peaceful. And that's what I think people don't understand is that, yeah, you're not killing somebody, but by blocking this traffic flow, you actually could be. You could be. Ambulance stuck in traffic, it's trying to get out. Those few minutes, oftentimes, difference between living and dying. So, plus people just got to be able to get places without you knuckleheads doing this. You guys remember this story? These were the protesters having a grab-ass dance party on Interstate 5 in Seattle, and one of them got boop, 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 run over. Here we go.
Following
Jeremy Harris.
the murder of George Floyd, protests had swept across the country. By mid-June, protesters here in Seattle had a new tactic of marching onto Interstate 5. On July 3rd, 2020, it had become almost a nightly routine when protesters marched onto the highway. That set into motion a series of events that would lead to the death of Summer Taylor and questions about whether the protesters assumed the risk by going on the highway or whether the state patrol failed to protect them. And what role did city leaders in Seattle and even the governor play in encouraging the protests?
I remember them basically encouraging them, not necessarily to go on the freeway, but go out, exercise your right. Remember, this was during a global pandemic and everybody was supposed to stay inside. But anybody protesting fentanyl Floyd's death, they were given the green light, thumbs up. Just go for it, even on the freeway. So these people have this grab-ass dance party that they streamed on Facebook. And then, oh my gosh, somebody got run over. You're like, what did you think would happen? This is the freeway. Cars go on the freeway. People don't. I don't know if you know that.
What do you need? The green bag. All right. Come on. There it is, right there. I don't know about the maze, but
When the first Seattle police officers arrived at the scene on I-5,
Diaz, we love you so much.
there you go.
it was chaos.
We tried getting everyone off the freeway. We were literally screaming to get everyone off the freeway, but they were further back.
Protesters said a driver had just plowed through their group, and there were even reports that someone in the car fired a gun at them.
This is the best. Fireworks, guys, fireworks.
Bro, listen, bro. I'm paranoid, bro.
No, I get it. You got people here with you, okay?
I'm paranoid, bro. I'm scared as bro.
As police and medics began life-saving efforts on the protesters, they quickly learned another member of the group had just chased down the suspect a few miles south on I-5.
Here's another look. LA, recent protesters. Go home. Go home to whatever rock and whatever country you crawled out from. Go home. If you don't like it in the U.S., the F out. Each 10 years. Give them 10 years. Here's a side road. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4-lane highway, big shoulder. Just stopped. Absolutely stopped. Sorry, what? These people are mentally challenged, not the cops, the agitators, the violent protesters. Look at this woman. Ugh. Oh, so bad. So you got that going through. That probably won't pass because there's a bunch of Democrats out there that'll say, no, we don't like that. Other things we've got going on. This weekend, we have on June the 14th, which is Saturday, we have got a We got stuff happening. And by the time you see this, you might have already seen what happened. But word is Seattle is going to have, we're going to have some fireworks. It's going to get spicy. Because what you've got is you got Trump's birthday on Saturday, and he's doing that, combining that with celebration, military celebration in D.C. of, I think it's the 250th birthday of the United States military, something like that. And there's this protest called No Kings. I mean, what a stupid name for a protest. Yeah, we know there's no kings. I mean, there's no kings. So, okay, let's go with it. It's like, air is good to breathe. You know what I mean? Breathe that air. Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. Just kind of like No Kings. But the No Kings protest is all across the country. It's funded with your taxpayer dollars through NGOs. And I believe it's going to end in some real violence. Hence, we've got ICE to deploy tactical units to Northern Virginia and 4 other cities. One of them being Seattle. Reports say the teams will deploy in Northern Virginia, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, and Seattle. I thought it was interesting that Portland was not in there. LA was not in there. San Francisco was not in there. Northern Virginia, New York, Philly, Chicago, and Seattle. I mean, Philadelphia, New York I get. Northern Virginia? Okay. Chicago? And they're too busy looting stores, aren't they? Isn't that what they're doing? And closing down McDonald's and having corruption at their mayor and supervisor level? I think that's what they're doing. But Seattle, all right? Seattle's going to go ham. So I'm going to hopefully live stream or at least get some really good footage from what will be an absolute dumpster fire in Seattle, Washington. Here it is. White House to send tactical units to 5 U.S. cities, reports. So, I mean, just this map alone is, it's kind of interesting from the standpoint. Seattle's the only West Coast, and yet 4 other cities, definitely East Coast-ish, with Chicago being a little bit further west, but not by much. What do we got going on there? I don't know. Seattle has been the poster child for all kinds of ridiculous nonsense. 8 arrested in Seattle protests, dumpster set on fire, and fireworks thrown at officers. I mean, it's happening in Seattle. You've got a lot of stuff. We got kind of a little rundown here. But then Seattle mayor urges peaceful protests, warns against fueling Trump narrative. Well, let's talk about that for a second. What I find really interesting with all of this stuff going on is this is pushing these big blue liberal cities. And I think LA is kind of recognizing, oh, yeah, the optics on this are not great. Because what it does is you've got the United States, you got everybody in the U.S. looking in, going to these big blue liberal cities that don't live there. And they're like, that's not really what we want for our community. We don't want people hopping on the freeway. We want ICE to take out the criminal illegals from our community. We want that. Vast majority of United States citizens, we'd rather not have a criminal illegal come in here and have involuntary sex with our female population. We'd rather not have that. Let ICE do their job. So, but these big blue Democrat cities, they're so stuck on this concept that what ICE is doing is illegal and unlawful and immoral. They're kicking out criminals from the country that shouldn't be here. How many did Obama do? 3 million? Obama did 3 million and was a Democrat, and nobody's saying anything about that at all. ICE is trying to make up for lost time because Biden was the first president who came in and just undermined border security from day one. He's the first president to really create an unsecure border. We had a very secure border with Trump first time around. And then it went to Biden, just basically let the free-for-all happen until Greg Abbott dropped the hammer with Operation, what was that? Lone Star, Operation Lone Star, which is Texas closed down their portion of the southern border, which borders Mexico, and started this process of creating what we now have is the most secure border we've ever had. 96% of illegal border crossings have gone away. And Trump did that without a single piece of legislation. Executive order after executive order. Here's what we're doing. We're actually enforcing the law. So Seattle mayor urges peaceful protests, warns against fueling Trump narrative. The damage has already been done because people are looking at this going, we don't want whatever Seattle is selling. Whatever Seattle leadership is talking about, we want the opposite. And what that looks like is Greg Abbott to deploy National Guard amid Texas anti-ICE protests. So Greg Abbott, governor, Texas, sending in his National Guard, his state National Guard, to quell whatever violence comes up with the anti-ICE protests. The folks that are protesting ICE, Customs and Immigration, from getting rid of the bad guys. Since when do you want to keep the bad guys, the criminals, criminal illegals, in the country? Why would you want that? Where does that get you? What kind of political footing is that when that is the underpinnings of your ideology? What is wrong with you? I mean, it's mind-boggling to me. All right, you want a bunch of criminals? Okay, well, with 20 million people, not saying they're all bad, that were let in illegally into the United States. You let in 20 million people. Say you let in 10 million people. What percentage of those, and we know, are going to be folks from 𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗏, from criminal organizations, from some, South American country, Central American country, wherever, that have dumped out their prison populations and we're taking their dregs, and now we're sending them to El Salvador when their own home country doesn't want them? I mean, where does that make sense? Folks doing this anti-ICE protests, I say let her rip, because you are just pushing more people to the right. That's what you're doing. Seattle, your leadership, Mayor Harrell, Chief of Police Sean Barnes, you are pushing more people to the right with your inaction on what should be supporting ICE activities, getting out the criminal illegals from our communities. But what's wrong with you? You're so ideologically twisted that you drank the Kool-Aid and ICE is bad. It's like, really? 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 You think that? Okay. It's delusional at best. Here we go. Austin Mayor Kirk Watson says National Guard is ready to assist during upcoming protests. So you got the governor of a Republican state. You got the mayor of what is a purple city, Austin, fairly liberal. But even there, because it's in Texas, your top-down leadership, they're basically saying, hey, no go on the protests. We're going to allow our National Guard to enforce law and order. What a novel concept. Here in the state of Washington, here in West Coast, Best Coast, liberal Seattle, Washington, we don't really support law enforcement. It's like, hey, man, just let it happen. And that's how you get these riots. And that is why I think the feds are being called to come to Seattle. I mean, birthplace of grunge. Isn't that crazy? Austin Mayor Kirk Watson said the National Guard will be prepared to assist local law enforcement. Watson said he has not been in direct contact with state or federal officials about the National Guard deployment, but the city was notified of their potential involvement with the Texas Department of Public Safety. Those are all entities, National Guard, Texas Department of Public Safety, and there's a couple others that Greg Abbott brought in to basically secure the Texas southern border, which is our national border, which Biden had opened up just wide open. All right, it's party time. Let's go. For 4 years. 4 years. Started by not discontinuing building the wall. He wildly abused the parole policy. I just let them into the U.S., give them a court date, let them in, created a one app, which people, we're getting to go into the United States. We don't really have a court date or anything, but Biden and Mickey Mouse that. On top of discontinuing the Remain in Mexico policy, alongside 93, 94 executive orders that basically opened up the southern border. It opened up our borders incredibly. And they were thinking that all those folks are going to vote Democrat down the road. I don't think they will. I think that wildly backfires. A bunch of those folks are going to get tossed because they don't have a shot. They don't have a basis for actual immigration, for legal immigration. And once people become a U.S. citizen and have the right to vote, you know what? Overwhelmingly, they vote Republican. Why is that? Because they want to keep what they got. They struggled, they fought, they battled to get into the U.S. legally. Now that they're here, they want their piece of the American pie, and they don't want these 20 million other jokers to dilute their piece of the American pie. So that whole concept, I think, is going to backfire wildly. You look at where a lot of these folks have immigrated from. They're mainly Catholic with background. They focus on families. Now, we're not talking about the criminals, but, criminals came through. Yeah, percentage of the 10, 15, 20 million people are going to be criminals. The other ones are folks that focus on family and they're Catholic, fairly conservative. They're not out there marching for abortions or saying, hey, we're atheists and we love Satan. That's the kind of nonsense that you hear at these protests, these far left protests, just a bunch of, political ideology that is effed in the head. But Seattle encourages it. Portland encourages it. These West Coast cities just wildly encourage it. Texas does not encourage it. Interesting how that works. Difference between blue and red. Law and order, utter chaos. City on fire. So this weekend is going to be, it's going to be something else. I'm going to try and live stream. So the beauty of having this in a podcast, you can check that out or not check it out if I didn't make it there, if the protest just fizzled out. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm being told that the violence is going to be more so than we had during the fentanyl Floyd era. So should be some wild stuff. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for being here. Catch up soon. Bye for now.